Hey, what's up everybody? 3D Theory here. Today is October 15th, 2024 at 5:27 a.m. and this is vlog number 63. Alright guys, today we're going to be starting up our next project for the week, and this week's project is the winner of the polls from when we did the stealth TV tray. By the way, there's the gray one. It finished up, and the second place winner during those polls was the traditional animation desk pen cup. And if you guys are familiar with this, Kem Weber, who was a designer back around the 1930s, designed the Walt Disney Studios in Burbank, kind of the architecture and the furniture and whatnot. And he designed this traditional animation desk for the animators. And I have a fun and cool story about one of these. I had taken traditional and basic animation courses at the Animation Guild in Burbank. I think it was called the American Animation Institute at the time. And the teacher had invited us to check out his traditional animation desk, and when you see it in person, it's just magnificent. It's large, it's got all these shelving units, and those are places to put all the papers you're working on, because if you're working on an animated feature film, you're doing 24 sheets of paper per 1 second of film time. So you can imagine how many sheets of paper were needed to do animation. But nonetheless, we're basically gonna take that desk and create a pen cup in the back. And it's probably going to be more square in the back, probably something along the lines of this. And it's going to be a fun little piece where if you're into animation and the history of the Walt Disney Company and their animation, this will be a really fun little piece to put on your desk and use. I do want to show you a little bit closer here the final result of the gray. It came out great. And just like the black one here, my family member who I gave this to loved it. She loves the color of it. I personally prefer the black color. It looks so cool. But nonetheless, that's the new Stealth TV tray. And it is 69.8 degrees Fahrenheit this morning with a 57% humidity level. Oh wow, I got really close and it jumped up to 70. That's funny. Nothing like a nice warm cup of coffee. It's getting cooler out here in Southern California. And by the way, for those of you who are new to the channel, this is my tiny 3D print farm with 5 Bambu Lab A1 3D printers. And what I usually print here are a set of latches, like this one. And this is the left latch, right latch, and a set of plates. This is the left plate in gray PETG. And here is the right plate. And these connect to a larger product that I don't talk about because that's the only 3D printed part. And those 4 there make one set. And so this 5th Bambu Lab A1 with AMS light combo is used to finish up near empty spools of filament. So while I'm printing here and the filament spool gets so low that I can't finish a full latch or a full plate, I load up all 4 slots so that it runs its auto refill system, so it can start printing out a plate or a latch, and once a spool finishes, it automatically switches over to another one and finishes up the job. And I know how much each one uses up. So a latch does 95 grams, a plate does 117 grams. And this I just wrote what an empty spool is because all my spools are standard. And so I can weigh them out on the scale down there and see if there's enough or not. And after a certain point, I can kind of tell just by looking at how much there is there left if it's going to be able to finish or not. And that's when I throw it on here and finish off the spools here. So these are done using multiple spools, but they look great. By the way, if you like the PETG that I'm using, I got it up on my Etsy shop. The link is in the description. And what you're seeing over here on this table are a bunch of 3D models that are available on my Maker World for free to download, print, and have fun. We have thrones for your phone. We got a Sith throne from Star Wars Episode 9. We got Vader's throne from the Kenobi series. And we have Bo-Katan's throne from Mandalorian Season 2. We got Lightyear's laser blade from the film Lightyear. We got green over there from Rainbow Friends. A stealth French side table in the same style as the stealth TV tray. And we got some fun little cool figures over here. We got the Master Multitasker, which is a little desk buddy that you can give to someone who you know that takes care of a lot of things, and it's your way of showing appreciation. And a little Santa hat with legs. Fun little holiday figurine. And last but not least, we have this thickness test, which are various thicknesses, 4 millimeter all the way down to 0.3 millimeter. And this helps you get a real world visualization as you're going through and modeling. It also gives you strength tests. Say, hey, would 4mm hold something up that I'm 3D modeling? And it'll give you a good idea. If you guys are interested, the link is in the description below. All right, guys, so we are ready to jump into the computer and take a look at this traditional animation desk pen cup that we'll be 3D modeling and making available on Etsy. All right, guys, so when I had visited either Disneyland or California Adventure, I forgot which park it was exactly, I saw some of these traditional animation desks, and I remembered my teacher from traditional and basic animation. And I'll tell you what, it brought back a flood of good memories. And so this is what we're going to be 3D modeling. And since the design is already there, we don't really need to sketch out anything. And pretty much in the back here, I'm going to be creating just a little cubby or a little area to put your pens and pencils. And it's going to be small and you're going to be able to put it on your desk. So that's the goal here. I took some pictures. I also put a water bottle here just in case I couldn't find measurements, but luckily online I found measurements, and I went and I took pictures kind of close up and in the round. And it was really neat to see this at Disneyland or California Adventure. I don't exactly remember which one it was, but I just noticed that John Henry, this little scene from John Henry, is up here. And this is kind of important because I got some cool project coming up to show you guys in the near future. So keep a lookout for a John Henry related video coming out. All right, guys, so I'm gonna get this 3D model started. So let's hop over into Maya. All right, guys, so I went ahead and switched over to inches and got the measurements, which was 72 by 55 by 30. And I know this is accurate, of course, after scaling by 10. I'm gonna go ahead and import an image of the side view into my perspective this time, because I have an image that's in perspective. So let's go over to View, Image Plane, Import Image. Here's our image imported into Maya, and I am going to want to adjust its alpha gain so I can see through it. And let's take a look at our cube here. And what I'm going to do is just match this up as best I can. And I'm just going in, and I'm going to switch the background color so I can see it better. And we just got to zoom in, and we're not adjusting the image plane per se, we're more so adjusting the camera. And I can tell that there's a bit of perspective here, so I'm going to try to match this up as best I can. And I did take this photo with an iPhone, so I do want to go over to my camera settings, and I know that its default is at 24mm, so hopefully by adjusting it to the correct focal length, we'll be able to get a better idea of lining this up. All right, guys, I think I'm going to want to rotate this image plane just a little bit. All right, I feel like that's a little bit better. So I'm going to go ahead and move the camera a little bit and try to match it as best I can. All right, guys, I'm liking the way that's looking. So I'm going to go ahead and lock the camera. I'm just going to go ahead and duplicate this, put it in a layer. And this I'm just going to call extra. It's an extra piece that I have there. And then I'm going to grab the image plane and put it in a reference layer so I can't touch it. And my camera's locked, so we're ready to get this thing modeled out. So first things first, I'm gonna grab this plane, delete everything behind it, and I'm just gonna get a multi-cut tool and cut this way across, put a vertex here. I can adjust that when it's time. There you have it. And that's pretty much all we need for now. We can go ahead and delete this. And we got kind of the basic polygonal shape over here. What I'm going to do is I'm going to create another perspective camera so we can take a look at what we've got going on. And if you take a look, this is our image plane with our camera right there real tiny, and here's our geometry. But I do want to hide the image plane and camera here, so I go to show and turn off camera. I don't want to see my lights either, and also image planes. I do want to make this thicker, but I don't quite know how thick it is just yet, so I'm going to arbitrarily do it. I'm going to do shift right mouse button extrude and just extrude out just a little bit. I don't know exactly what it is right now, but just so we have something we can work with. The normals are flipped, so I'm going to go mesh display and reverse. All right, I'm going to switch over back to my first perspective camera and actually bring back the image plane here. All right, guys, so I know that there is a curve here, a large curve here, and another curve there. So I'm going to go ahead and grab that corner, bevel it. Let's do about 8 segments so it's nice and smooth. And I do want to slow down the action of this by decreasing the size in this pie chart here so I can kind of fine tune. There you have it. That's looking perfect. Now let's go ahead and do the same for this. 8 look good to me. Bring that out. That's looking good. And we'll do the same for this here. Again, 8 look good to me. This one's kind of extended out like that. All right, guys, so we got this basic shape going on, which is perfect. And if you take a look at the images, it's basically repetitive shapes here. So we have 1, 2, 3, and 4. So these pieces that were created repeat 4 times. And let's see if we can pull any other kind of information from this. And I know I can model in these shelves. So I'm going to go ahead and create a cube. Bring that on up. I'm going to try to zoom in as best I can. I feel like we have the best view of this one here. So I'm just going to model this by eye. You got that. That's about right in terms of thickness. So I'm just going to go ahead and take a look at where it's at in space. And I do want to bring it to where it would be, which is right next to this thing. And now we can kind of get a more accurate representation there. All right, that's looking pretty accurate to me. And I'm going to work in a double screen here. I'm going to bring this down. I'm going to switch this over to perspective. And I do want to just grab this and extend it on out until I feel like in this picture here we reach the edge. It's kind of hard to tell though, but I feel like we're going to be able to get the right measurements once we move into another view. But nonetheless, I do want to get this out like that. And our perspective is a little off. That's all right. We'll make it work. And I'm just going to bring this all the way back to here. And likewise, this has really nice curves. And I kind of want to match it now. So I'm going to see if I can just move this camera around to match that there. Hey, what do you know? That's looking really close. All right, that's looking pretty good to me. So I'm going to go ahead and lock off that camera again. And let's take a look at what's happening here. So I am going to extend this out just a little bit more. I feel like it's a little too long, but let's just leave it for now. And in here, I want to match that beautiful curve. So let's go ahead and bevel that. And again, I want to do about 8 segments. Let's see if we can match that curve there. Yeah, that's about right. Now I do want to duplicate, bring this up, and I'll bring this back just to match that there. And let's duplicate and bring that on up just like that. And we can bring that back. Very nice. All right, guys, so I'm just going to grab this back here and match it to this line there. Very cool. And I kind of want to get the side angle of this here. I'm wondering if I could just make that happen now. So I'm going to go ahead and create a cube. And this box here only allows me to move in this Z and Y. So I'm going to click that box there. And I do want to move that according to the face I selected. So I'm going to go to object mode and bring that in. That looks to be about the correct thickness. So that's nice. And I'm going to grab all the verts here, bring it on down, likewise with this one. All right, that looks pretty good to me. So I'm going to go ahead and grab my multi-cut tool and just pop that in there. And let's go over to my second perspective camera, grab this and bring it on over. I feel like that's pretty decent. And I'll grab that, extrude that on out just like that. All right, guys. And when we take a look at the photo here and then go back, this does seem kind of long. So we're going to fix all that once we bring that image we just looked at, this one, and line it up to this image here. Turn it off for reference, grab this image plane, delete it. And instead of using our original perspective camera here, I'm going to do what I should have done from the beginning and use the second one I have. And I'm going to call this ShotCam. We'll go 24 with this one for the iPhone setting. And let's bring in that image. All right. So I'm going to go to View, Image Plane, Import Image. And again, I'm just going to go ahead and decrease the alpha gain here and line this up as best I could. I feel like we're at a good place with this. I'm going to go ahead and go over to my side view here, grab all these verts, and match it to the correct size now that I have that view of it. All right, that looks about right. And you know what? Let me put this in the layer. Okay, just so I don't touch it. And I'm going to bring this on over so that it's where it needs to be, just like that. All right, I locked that camera too and match it. This looks correct. Now we're gonna grab these, bring them on over, just like that. Very nice. And we can grab this table and bring it over, match that. And as you can tell here, it's a little bit large. So let me grab this and scale it on this way, just like that. This probably needs to come up too, just like that, and in this way as well. Okay. All right, guys, I feel like that's looking a lot better. For all intents and purposes, this should be a symmetrical desk. So I'm gonna go ahead and delete that. I'm gonna throw all this in a group and bring that over to the center point here and duplicate special. So that should be the right size. And yeah, that matches up almost perfectly. All right, guys, so now we're going to put these drawer units in. I'm going to go ahead and create a cube again, bring that on over. And again, I do want to make sure that I'm in the general correct area. So this should be about lined up there. Let's see where it is in here. It should be about there. And I do want to bring this on over this way. So I'm going to go ahead and grab these verts, bring them on over, bring this up just like that. I'm going to go over to my perspective in the back. So I can grab that there and bring it back all the way there. Very nice. Now let's see where all of these drawers are. And I'm now noticing that this here and the bottom part of this, probably about from right there, is one piece. So to make that accurate, so I'm going to try to delete some of these lines here. Just like that. Grab my multi-cut and bring that around and close the loop just like that. And I can comfortably just delete that. I do want to fill the hole here, and from there just grab these faces here and extrude on out and vertex snap. Alright, that's looking good. And we know when we go over to our shot cam, we know we have a drawer unit here, here, and here. And I'm just going to go ahead and mark the area where these handles begin. About there. Now we do have another one of these curvy pieces that go here. However, they look to be recessed a little bit, so it goes inward. So I'm going to go outside of my view here and see if I can just grab these as well as those. I'm going to bring these back. Yeah, that's looking good. Maybe I slightly elongate it even more. All right, that's looking good to me. I'm going to go ahead and delete these because we don't really need them. And it seems like these actually extend out. So as we can tell here, these actually are connected. So this whole shelf is one piece as well as this one. And we can tell because we have a little gap over here that has some extra space, but it doesn't seem to be the same over here. So with that being said, it's about this far out. Just gonna put one there and match it to that here. And I want to connect the edge loop around this way. Now with that in mind, I'm just going to extrude this out just like that. So I would assume there would be about the same amount of space. So let me make a cube here. So I'll bring that on over and I'll bring that on over just like that. All right, and so I'll grab this multi-cut tool. Gives me that same amount of space there. And I just want to make this geometry wrap around, loop there, or edge rather, and make it loop around. I can grab that face and extrude on out. I do want to delete that face because we're going to duplicate special as usual. And I notice that there's a nice curve there, so I'll just go ahead and match that. Let's mesh combine these so I can do them at the same time. Bevel. Let's go again 8. Alright, that's looking about right to me. Very nice. Now I can go ahead and bring this pivot to the center there, duplicate special. Grab these, mesh combine, see if those actually connected as one. And all right, so we got basically all the main points of this animation desk going. Obviously we need to add the back, some of the details for the drawers, such as these little openings here, the handles, as well as the animation disc. I'm gonna leave the light, I'm not gonna include that. And once that's done, we can add the back cubby for the pens and pencils or whatever you want to put in there, and we can call it done. All right, let's continue here. I'm going to go ahead and continue with this drawer unit here and model out those handles. When I'm focusing in on a specific part, I like to create a new scene and just model in that specific part. So I copied and now is pasting the drawer unit here, and from here I had cropped out some photos of the handles. So I'm going to go ahead and bring that into my front view over here. View, image plane, import image. I'm just going to go ahead and scale that on up. I do want to make it a little see-through so that I can see the geometry behind it and line it up accordingly. That should be correct around there. I'm going to bring that pivot point to that corner so that I can scale this up correctly. That looks perfect. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and just model these in now. I'm going to create a new cube, bring that on up, and go ahead and begin matching it up just like that. And as you can tell, we do have this really nice chamfer over here. I'm going to grab that edge, bevel it, and we'll add 8. I'm going to decrease the pie chart so it slows down. There you have it. I'm going to go ahead and grab another cube, bring that up, and now we're going to go for this handle. All right, I'm going to go into vertex mode, bring that on up just like that, scoot that on over. I do want to bring this curve this way, so we'll match it just a little bit there. We'll grab this edge and bevel it. I'll do another 8 over here. Just move that in place just like that. Likewise, we'll do the same for this. 8. That looks perfect right off the bat. All right, so I do have another image. It's kind of from a top angle, but I'm gonna import that in to a newly created perspective camera that I'm gonna call shot cam, just like that. And I'll do view, image plane, import image. And I'm gonna do the one that's closest to the camera here, because I feel like I got that angle in the best light. So with that in mind, I'm just gonna go ahead and create another cube, and I'm gonna do my best to kind of match that look. All right guys, now to make this happen, I'm gonna magnetize this cube, and I'm gonna zoom in, go to mesh tools and create polygon. And this is just to create a polygon from scratch, just drawing it right out like that. And I hit enter, and I'm gonna go ahead and take a look at it in my regular perspective view. That's looking pretty decent, and I'm just gonna straighten that, bring that up. All right, with that being said, I can go ahead and delete this cube that I used, and I do want to also connect some of these lines here, these edges rather, just like that. Let me grab this and bring it on over here. It's gonna have to match this size. There you have it. I'm gonna bring it over here and extrude it, just like that. I'll reverse the normals. And we got the makings of this handle, but I do want to match it to this design here behind it. All right guys, so I'm gonna go ahead and grab this center line here because I don't need it, but I do want this one here. And I'm gonna go ahead and delete that. So I got my edges so I can do my bevel now. Bevel that. And I did this because I'm gonna be subdividing and turn off chamfer. And when I subdivide, it's gonna make it smoother, but there needs to be supporting edge loops so that when I subdivide, it holds its form, just like this. So I'm gonna put a little edge loop there in the middle for better support. And I like the way that's looking. Mesh, smooth, just like that. And so now it's looking really smooth, but I do want to bring in these curves now. And to do that, I'm gonna grab my handle, go to deform, lattice. All right, and now we got a lattice deformer, which is like a little cage around our geometry. And I wanna increase the subdivisions. That gives us plenty of edges to kind of deform the way we need it to. So I'm gonna grab these lattice points and just start bringing them in one by one and match that curve, just like that. All right, we have a nice smooth curve going this way and it matches. And we just have a little bit of a curve here. So maybe I can just grab these two, bring it in. Also this one, bring that in. So we have that handle modeled out and it's looking great. And now we just need to do that recess, which just looks to be around the corner just like this. And I'm gonna go ahead and bevel that, turn off chamfer, and we could just bring that in. That looks to be about correct. There is a little bit of a recess just like that. These edges come out in a diagonal fashion a little bit. So just like that. So to make that smoothness happen, go ahead and grab a multi-cut tool, put an edge there to support it, as well as put a supporting edge loop here. Let's say another one straight across, just like that. And how does it look in a subdivided preview mode? It looks good. It looks like that's what it's supposed to do. So with that, I'm gonna go ahead and mesh smooth. There you have it. Bring this back here, just like that. And although these are recessed in, I'm just gonna leave it like that for the 3D model so it's easier for it to read for 3D printing. And so I'm gonna just duplicate this, bring this on up like that. And this one just has a recess in with the handle. I'm just gonna bring that and bring it up there. I do want to just bring this out to just a tad bit. And again, it is recessed, but I kind of want to make it so that it comes out as opposed to in, just for ease of 3D printing, just like that. All right, and I do want to add some of these cracks for the drawer, but we can grab this, put another one there as well as there. And likewise, we're going to do the same over here. So I'm going to want to grab all the areas where I want to make holes. All right, it looks like we got all the drawers where we're going to make all the holes. And I do want to just extrude it. So it's clearly a gap there. And there you have it. We got our drawer pretty much ready to go. And we're ready to bring it in to the main scene over here. That is looking good. I'm going to wait to create the back because the back's just going to be a cubby for your pens. But there is one main thing we still need to create, which is the animation disc. And we have a straight on shot right here. And again, I'm gonna just make a simplified version of this. Just a circle, maybe these rulers here, maybe this hole, and then the white plexiglass there. All right, and this should be pretty straightforward. Just threw it in a reference layer. I'm
I'm going to go ahead and grab a cylinder, bring that on out, increase this to 100. That's looking actually pretty accurate to me. I'm going to grab a cube now so we can make these ruler looking things. It's really an iconic table. When you see it, you know exactly what it is. If you're into animation, I'm going to bring that on that side. I'm going to duplicate that, bring that on down. I think I'll add this hole here just for fun. So what this hole is for over here is you'd stick your finger there and rotate this thing so you can draw it in any which angle you'd like. So you could tilt it and rotate it. With that, I'm going to grab a multi-cut and slice it this way and also slice it this way. So then I can just grab all these faces here and just extrude in because it's extruded in a little bit. All right, guys, that's about all I want to add for the animation disc. Grab that, copy it, and bring it in here. That's really looking cool. I'm really loving it. All right, guys, so this is pretty much what we're looking at for that pen cup. And this is ready to be exported and thrown into Bambu Studio to be sliced and printed. So I'm going to go ahead and export this out as an OBJ, and I'll throw it into Bambu Studio, and I'll see you out in the real world. All right, guys, so that was modeling the traditional animation desk pen cup in Maya from a photo. But nonetheless, that about wraps it up for today's video. Thank you so much for joining me. Until next time, peace, love, and joy.